Hello, my name is Professor Vidya-mitra of the O.P. Jindal Global University. It's a module named is Review of Efforts to Establish a South Asian Human Rights Mechanism. South Asia is home to almost 1/4 of the world's population and is comprised of the following countries: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The region faces a host of challenges that are common to all of these countries: poverty, terrorism, extremism, corruption and deficiencies in the democratic setup, human rights of children, women and marginalized communities. Despite the fact that these countries have vastly divergent fundamental principles grounded in their constitutions, all South Asian states guarantee a number of fundamental rights, which are nevertheless and not always enforced by state mechanisms such as the courts because of political expediency and social pressures. This is what necessitates the creation of a South Asian mechanism for human rights that would be fair, independent and unfettered by the dictates of national ideologies and local pressures. Asia and South Asia, by extension, is the only region in the world that does not have any region-wide human rights treaty or a human rights mechanism directed towards the promotion and protection of human rights. In other regions of the world, this regional human rights mechanism takes the form of a regional human rights court and or commission attempts to provide redress when national courts or institutions are unwilling or unable to provide justice. There are a number of reasons offered in political and academic circles for the absence of a region-wide treaty mechanism. Some believe that it is not realistic for South Asian states to agree on a human rights treaty for the regions, considering that the political needs are exactly the opposite. Recent years have witnessed the tightening of laws, increased powers be given to the police to legally infringe civil rights under the pretext of counterterrorism initiatives and the lack of judicial engagement with state impunity, amongst other problems. The conclusion has been that coherent ideas need to be formed and standards designated in political discourse among South Asian states before formal institutions for monitoring human rights issues can be set up, similar to the process that unfolded in Europe after the Second World War. Since the 1960s, there have been various initiatives that have been undertaken to set up a regional or sub-regional human rights mechanism in Asia. The focus of this module will specifically be on efforts taken so far to establish a human rights mechanism in the South Asian sub-region of the Asian continent. So what are the learning outcomes? The learning outcomes are as follows: to make a review of efforts to establish a South Asian human rights mechanism, 2. to get an overview of the various seminars and held at the various ages of the organizations, 3. to have an understanding of the SAARC and to find out its regional implications. Review of efforts taken to establish a South Asian human rights mechanism or the United Nations UN initiatives. In the 1960s, the United Nations Commission on Human Rights set up a study group to look into the establishment of regional human rights mechanisms in all parts of the world. Pursuant to this, the UN Secretary General was advised that the best way to promote the establishment of such mechanisms in various parts of the world was to organize regional seminars in those regions that have not adopted a regional commission to monitor human rights issues. In this regard, the UN General Assembly issued a series of resolutions aimed at setting up regional mechanisms, promoting and protecting human rights in various regions, such as in Resolution 32/127 of 1977. It states, it appeals to states in areas where regional agreements in the field of human rights do not yet exist to consider arrangements with a view to the establishment within their respective regions of suitable regional machinery for the promotion and protection of human rights. In the South Asian region, the UN-administered regional seminars took place in Colombo in 1982, Kathmandu in 1996, New Delhi in 1999, and Islamabad in 2003. Now let us look into the Colombo Seminar of 1982. In 1982, the UN organized a seminar called National, Local, and Regional Arrangements for the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights in the Asian Region, in Colombo, in Sri Lanka. Participants from 19 states, regional organizations, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and UN agencies took part in this. The conclusion reached by the participants stated, I quote, "The necessary political will, a prerequisite for evolving intergovernmental collaboration for the promotion of human rights, does not at present exist in the region." The participants felt it was premature to think of a regional arrangement, but recommended that periodic regional and sub-regional meetings should be held on human rights issues. The Kathmandu workshop of 1996. Just like the preceding workshops that took place in various Asian locations, such as Colombo, Manila, and Jakarta, the workshop in Kathmandu was focused on the long-term objective of setting up a regional human rights mechanism, either in the Asia-Pacific region as a whole or sub-regions like South Asia. The representatives of 30 states and 9 NGOs attended. For the first time, states in West Asia, including Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and the United Arab Emirates participated. The workshop discussed common principles and explored enabling strategies for the establishment of a regional arrangement. Some of the main conclusions reached at this workshop included: any regional arrangement would need to be based on the needs, priorities, and conditions prevailing in the region. 2. The roles, functions, and tasks of regional arrangements should be identified by the governments of the region. And 3. The diversities and complexities of the region would require extensive consultations amongst states in the region. 4. The establishment of national human rights institutions, NHRIs, by a number of Asian and Pacific countries was welcomed. States with existing NHRIs were encouraged to strengthen them as outlined in the Vienna Declaration and the Programme of Action. Furthermore, the useful roles played by the NGOs in the promotion and protection of human rights. It also looked into their participation in the process of the development of regional arrangements. After that was the New Delhi workshop of 1999. In the context of the UN efforts to establish a South Asian human rights mechanism, the New Delhi workshop was a turning point. The title of the Human Rights Commission annual resolutions changed from regional arrangements for the promotion and preservation of human rights in the Asia-Pacific region to regional cooperation for the promotion and protection of human rights in Asia Pacific region. As per the Commission Resolution of 1999/69 of 1999, the paradigm shifted from the original aim of the UN workshops to set up regional arrangements for human rights mechanisms to regional cooperation. The participants of the workshops committed to taking step-by-step approaches to ensuring regional cooperation for the universal promotion of respect for human rights. They recognized the interrelatedness of democracy, human rights, and development. Additionally, the workshop affirmed the development of regional cooperation through the building of national capacities and exchange of experiences based on regional technical support of the UN Voluntary Fund for Technical Cooperation in the field of human rights. Then was Islamabad Workshop 2003. The 11th UN Workshop was held in Islamabad, Pakistan. The workshop reviewed the progress in implementing the 4 pillars of the Tehran Framework. Framework for Regional Technical Cooperation in Asia Pacific, adopted in the Tehran Workshop of 1998, had 4 aims: develop and strengthen national capacities, implement human rights education, establish national institutions for supervising human rights issues, and develop strategies to implement the right to development and other economic, social, and cultural rights. The Islamabad workshop also raised concerns about the limited resources available to the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, that is the OHCHR, provide technical assistance on human rights issues and to protect and promote human rights in the Asia region. The workshop urged member states to support the human rights activities of the OHCHR in the region. The workshop highlighted the various human rights initiatives of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC, for the strengthening and development of regional endeavors for the promotion and protection of human rights in the South Asian region. Now let us look into the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC. SAARC is made of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, the countries that largely comprise the region of South Asia. It was founded with the intention of promoting peace and stability in the region of South Asia while strictly adhering to the principles of the UN Charter, which has itself been the basis for the formation of many international human rights treaties. It has so far been reluctant in labeling many of its initiatives and treaties as human rights related treaties. However, the President of Maldives stated during the 13th SAARC summit in 2005, and he stated thus, I quote, "It is time that an autonomous SAARC Center for Human Rights based on civil society is established. Such a committee could promote international standards, facilitate cooperation amongst lawyers and jurists, and share expertise and resources in the advocacy of human rights and democracy in the region." SAARC has a cooperative approach of focusing on treaties linked with specific human rights issues. In 2002, it adopted 2 treaties related to human rights: the SAARC Convention on Preventing and Combating Trafficking in Women and Children for Prostitution, and the SAARC Convention on Regional Arrangements for the Promotion of Child Welfare, especially in the SAARC countries. In 2004, SAARC adopted the SAARC Social Charter, which impacts on many economic, social, and cultural rights and include communication commitments to eradicate poverty, improve health services, foster educational access, and promote the status of women and children, population stabilization, and drug addiction rehabilitation. Under the Charter, members set up national coordination committees through an integrated program of action where core areas of cooperation are identified. Additionally, the outcome document of the SAARC summit in 2011, known as the ADU Declaration of 2011-9 and the Thimphu Declaration, adopted in 2013 by SAARC Law, a regional apex body of SAARC. 10. Accorded official recognition to human rights as the core component of democracy and good governance, and as a necessary ingredient for social and economic development in the South Asian region. Despite positive steps in this direction, SAARC has not moved to establish an all-encompassing South Asian human rights mechanism. For this, there is what is known as the civil society initiatives, and the South Asian Center for Human Rights is one such initiative. The South Asian Center for Human Rights has given some thought to the idea of establishing a regional human rights mechanism. It has noted the common patterns among issues faced by South Asian countries in the field of human rights, powers of security forces, and the need to reform the laws that govern them. Lack of active judicial engagement with state impunity and human rights violations, etc. In light of these issues, the Center engages with concerns of many South Asian countries, regardless to the hegemonic nature of the international human rights regime, by arguing for the contextualization of human rights in the South Asian region. In order to increase their cross-cultural aspect and applicability in the region, it has been made two broad recommendations. First, that SAARC countries establish what is known as a working group of eminent persons of South Asia to explore the possibility of drafting a South Asian Human Rights Convention, and with full participation of civil society groups. And second, that the national human rights institutions in various South Asian countries collaborates to establish such a convention, Asian Forum for Human Rights and Development, or in other words, Forum Asia. Forum Asia has been actively involved in the civil society advocacy for the establishment of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, AICHR, and has been also working within its member organization networks, partners, and coalitions to push the strong advocacy for the regional mechanism in South Asia. In March 2010, Forum Asia, in collaboration with INSEC Nepal-based, had the organization the first regional workshop on regional human rights mechanisms for South Asia in Kathmandu. The outcome document was the Kathmandu Declaration of 2010, incorporated a strong call to South Asian governments to establish regional human rights mechanisms. In South Asia, establish national human rights institutions or NHRIs in Pakistan and Bhutan. A delegation had also met with the Prime Minister of the government of the Nepal and requested him to push the agenda of a regional mechanism in South Asia in the 16th SAARC summit in Bhutan and other forums. The workshop in Kathmandu spawned a number of such other workshops and seminars. As the immediate follow-up to the Kathmandu workshop, a half-day workshop was conducted on the premises of the People's SAARC at the Indian Social Institute New Delhi, on 21st April 2010 to broaden, strengthen and consolidate efforts in building sub-regional campaigns on the establishment of a human rights body for South Asia. Similarly, a seminar on the need for intergovernmental human rights membership or mechanism in South Asia was organized in collaboration with the Sustainable Development Policy Institute or SDPI in November 2010 in Islamabad. The second sub-regional workshop on a human rights mechanism South Asia was held again in Kathmandu in July 2011 and saw the attendance of various luminaries. Ms. Hina Jilani, former Special Rapporteur of the UN Secretary General on Human Rights Defenders and Chair of the South Asians for Human Rights, SAARC, delivering keynote remarks, expressed grave concern about the deteriorating human rights situation due to anti-terrorism measures adopted in South Asian countries. She further pointed out the lack of rule of law in various countries of South Asian region. Also delivering keynote remarks, former Assistant UN Secretary General Mr. Kulchandra Gautam pointed out that despite the national human rights mechanisms being the most important and effective mechanism for recognition and respect of human rights, the regional mechanism can complement the national mechanism, especially in addressing cross-border issues. It is to be kept in mind that Forum Asia also acts as a secretariat for the regional initiative for a South Asian Human Rights Mechanism or RISAHRM, a civil society forum that was created subsequent to the sub-regional consultations held in Kathmandu in 2010 and 2011. This forum is a collaborative platform of civil society. Individuals from the region committed to the cause of furthering human rights and peace. The mission of the forum is to advocate for and help create an environment conducive for the establishment of a South Asian human rights mechanism. As part of the ongoing advocacy, they organized a national convention meeting in Dhaka in December 2012, where over 100 participants, including civil society representatives, academic journalists, students, and other professionals took part in concluding a time-bound course of action for a group of experts to review various themes requiring actions in South Asia. In 2014, the RISAHRM, in collaboration with other civil society groups, called for the promulgation of a SAARC Human Rights Charter. The same claims were reiterated in the Lahore Declaration of 2014. Now let us look into the SAARC-affiliated civil society organizations. The civil society awareness of SAARC activities as attempts to participate in, influence the SAARC processes has also stepped up in recent years. A glance at the list of SAARC's apex bodies and SAARC's recognized bodies reveals that the SAARC is more interested in working with technical and civil society organizations rather than civil society organizations working on human rights and democratization. Still, groups such as the South Asian Free Media Association, SAFMA, or the South Asians for Human Rights, SAHR, and South Asian Forum for Human Rights, SAFHR, now try to lobby SAARC into addressing a wider range of human rights issues that it has in the past. The largest network of civil society groups working to push SAARC deeper into acting on human rights in People's SAARC, a collective of people's movements, rights groups, and prominent members of civil society across the various regions of South Asia, with a secretariat based in Kathmandu, where the SAARC Secretariat is located. Thus, it can be said that there are enormous challenges in established human rights mechanism in South Asia. Because of its legal and geographical hurdles, the politics of South Asia have been affected heavily by the continuing tensions in Indo-Pakistan relations. Thus, to summarize, that similarly, there are a number of issues in South Asia such as water, migrant workers, trafficking, minority and indigenous community, refugees and border disputes, which are also contentious issues which needs to be settled through bilateral and multilateral mechanisms. Climate change and ecological degradation have become threats common to the region. Not to mention the rest of the planet. SAARC has regional agenda and mechanisms on development-related matters, but it is high time for SAARC to have one focused agenda for a human rights mechanism. Regional human rights organizations should continue pushing the agenda for regional human rights mechanisms in the national, regional and international forums through concentrated effort, shared vision and common strategies. Thank you.